Hey guys, today I want to just kind of give a reminder out there to people that are coming here about hospitals over here and the way that they work. And when it comes time to leave a hospital, it can be quite scary because a lot of these hospitals, and I've seen this happen in many hospitals, okay, many. I'm not saying all are like this, but many of the hospitals here, when you go to leave, even if you have insurance that pays them direct, we just had this issue yesterday with a gentleman that called me to tell me about the issue that he was having up in Manila. And what it is when you go to leave the hospital, you tell them that you want to leave, and they say, "Oh, okay, yes, sir." And can you get me ready right away and bring up, if I owe anything, bring up the bill or whatever. And 5 hours later, you find yourself sitting there still in the hospital waiting, and you tell another nurse or a doctor, whoever comes in to see you, that you just want to leave. And the hospitals, I'm not sure what goes on behind the scenes, but I know this, that when you go to leave, it's damn hard to leave, because I've been in there with people, and you think you're going to get out of there in the morning, and you don't get out of there till late afternoon or even the next day on some occasions. And what they do is they hold you. They're waiting for the funds to either hit their account, their bank or whatever. Even if they've gotten a letter faxed over from the insurance company saying that we will pay, they tend to really hold you as long as they possibly can. And it really, for Americans, it just pisses people off. And when I was here one time, I've told this story before and I'll tell it again. I was in a hospital for food poisoning right here in Tracy Martinez, actually. I was in there. I tried to pay them by credit card. This is when I didn't have insurance. I tried to pay them by credit card, and they says our credit card machine's down. I says, okay, so I'm just going to run down to the ATM machine. I'll get the money. I owed them like $200, $250 or whatever. It wasn't a lot of money. And they said, no. We're not, you can't leave. And I said, what do you mean I can't leave? How can I pay you if I can't leave? They said, well, you can give somebody your ATM card or whatever, but you're not leaving. And I says, no, I'm leaving. I says, you can't hold me here legally. I know what the laws are here. And we had a shared room. It wasn't a private room. If you have a private room, it kind of changes things a little bit. The law doesn't really tell you what to do or what happens if you have a private room. But it says if you're like in a ward or in a semi-private room, that you can leave. They can't hold you. And if you try to make a payment to them and they're not working with you, you can leave, because you've tried making, you've told them, hey, listen, I want to pay you or whatever. They're telling you can't leave, then you can leave, regardless of what they say. You might get a hard time. They might try to block you from leaving the country or whatever, but once you pay the bill, they have to take that off. It has to come off if they do try to do that. But it's really kind of whacked out and wonky the way things work here sometimes with hospitals. And at the time, somebody paid my bill, and then it was all set. But the guard, he was brandishing a weapon at the hospital. I says, what are you going to do? I says, shoot me right here if you want. He says, what, over a $250 bill? I says, have at it. That's going to look good for your hospital. And he's just kind of like staring at me like I'm the nutty one when the hospital's acting crazy. I says, hey, I'm trying to pay you. What more can I do? But that was my experience with a hospital here. There's a guy up in Manila right now. They're actually holding his girlfriend, which is sad. And his insurance company, I told him, I says, call your insurance company, see if they're talking to them, let them know that they're paid. He says, okay, I'll call him just to make sure. They said that they sent him all the stuff that they needed to let him know that they're getting paid. Well, he's afraid to go back because he's afraid something's going to happen. And you're in a third world country. Of course, you're going to be a little bit afraid, but they're holding his girlfriend. He's waiting to see what happens. and he's afraid to go back because maybe the guard will try to hold him or they'll lock him in a room or something like that. And I can understand that. It's kind of crazy, but I understand it. But I wouldn't leave my girlfriend in there, number one. I would have said, come with me. I would have grabbed her hand and said, let's go. Because she's not the one who has to pay the bills, nor is she the one that's required to pay the bills, so they shouldn't be holding her. But and he can't even really go to the embassy about this, the U.S. embassy, because she is not a U.S. citizen. So that kind of finishes off any help from the embassy or whatever. And it makes life really, really complicated when you're dealing with idiots like that in some of these hospitals. And you're basically dealing with people that just don't give a damn. And who are you going to call? I mean, you're in a foreign country. If you call PNP, are they going to do anything? I would say call PNP. Say they're holding her. I tried paying them. I offered to pay them with credit card. They're asking for pictures of him, his passport picture, and he says, "You don't need my picture. You already have a picture on one of my other IDs." He's tried negotiating with them, but they are not being very nice about it, and they're kind of like acting like they haven't been paid when they already got the letter approving the payment to them. And these are the things you're going to deal with over here. Despite the fact that it's illegal for these hospitals to do that, and in fact it's in their constitution or their rules up on the wall in some of these hospitals that they're not supposed to do that, but they do it anyway. I've been in many hospitals that have that up on the wall, and then they still will hold people. They will still hold a Filipino. They will hold an American, what have you. It seems like if they don't actually have the money in hand, they're not letting you go. They're going to hold you as long as they can because they want to make sure that they don't get ripped off, and they want to make sure they get that money. And it's kind of scary. I have an insurance company that pays direct like this gentleman did. And it makes me more worried and concerned now that stuff like that is happening. And I'm going to talk to somebody about this a little bit more and delve into this a little bit deeper than this here. But I want to warn you guys, be ready when this stuff happens, because sometimes to get out, you may have to pay them in advance. This guy here offered to pay them in advance, and they still didn't want him to go. And I'm not sure what's going on. This may be part of the story. He's not telling me something or whatever. But when you're in there, make sure you're talking to these people all the time about what day am I going to get out of here once you get your operation or you're getting over your illness or whatever. Start having that conversation beforehand. Say, I want to leave on this day, and I got to get out of here by this time, or I'm going to leave. So can you have all the documents ready, and I'll pay you, or what have you. And, can I pay by credit card, or, is my insurance going to be enough if they pay you direct? Start having that conversation while you're staying there. You got plenty of time rather than wait till the last day. That's about the best advice I can give you. It doesn't mean it's going to fix things for you, but at least you'll be one step ahead of the game. And I know when you're in the hospital, usually you're not feeling your best. So have somebody like your wife or your girlfriend ready to be there, to be your advocate, to get you out of there. Make sure she has enough cash. Make sure she has your credit card on hand, your girlfriend or your wife, or another expat or what have you. And be ready for this when it happens, because it seems to happen very often. And it's something that you should be very concerned about when you're over here. Now, if you get held, you can always call the U.S. Embassy. They'll send somebody over. They'll try to, maybe they'll send somebody over and help you, hopefully. Or you can have an attorney ready to be, to be called. Tell them you're going into the hospital. You don't expect anything to happen, but if it does, you want them there to get you out of the hospital if they try to pull the stunt on you. And trust me, I've seen it happen way too many times, and it seems like it happens. It's more likely to happen than not in a lot of these cases. Because, like, when I was in the hospital here with a friend, we thought we were getting out of there in the morning. We didn't get out till late afternoon. Now, sometimes it's just that they're busy. That's understood. But they won't tell you that. Oh, right now we have a whole load. They won't tell you, oh, right now we have a whole load of people waiting to get out. So you're in line. It'll probably be late this afternoon or whatever. They don't tell you that. It starts making you think the worst. But be ready for it, guys, because it happens. And it happens at good hospitals, and it happens at bad hospitals too. Hospitals that are far away from Manila, they're not the best hospitals. It happens in those hospitals a lot, and they always have a guard around that acts like he's going to hold you there against your will. And that gets scary, especially for guys, ex-military guys that have PTSD or something like that. It can be a really, really bad experience, very bad experience. And some of these guys, it sets off their PTSD, and it makes the whole situation even get worse than what it is. So that's why I tell people, be ready for this. Be wary that it could happen. Anyway, guys, I wanted to throw that out there. And be sure to subscribe to the Philippine Info channel for the changeover. And also be sure to subscribe to the Boston Guy, my new channel, which I will be on. And hopefully I'll be on this channel still after, too. God bless, guys. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.